Were you at Madison Square Garden last night?
I was at MSG. Yeah,
How
did
about
that
that?
game, man. That
Are the
Ranger
Rangers
team is
back?
coming on. Yeah, I think I don't want to say back, but they're tickling with it because Zibanejad he's still got lots more to give. I think he's got 9 goals on the season. He's a good player that has had a bad season.
9.
Adam Fox, same thing. Adam Fox has not had a great season, although he's got points. But Keandre Miller, like they're top players. I like this Will Cooley kid. I think he's a nice player. But Trocheck, really, Panarin scored last night. Like he's on pace to potentially get close to 100 points again. Like he's a guy who's, I think a really solid player. But they're
6-0-3 now in their last 9.
Yeah, the Sens didn't play well last night. Like that was their 3rd game in 4 nights, and they looked like they had no energy.
Scheduled loss.
Yeah. Well, the scheduled loss was the one that they won because they played Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. in Ottawa against the Boston Bruins and had a bloodbath. Like that
game was unbelievable, Noodles. I watched it. That's the best game I've seen all year.
It was unbelievable. So by the time the shootout winner goes in at 6:10 p.m., they've got to fly to New York. So they get into their hotel rooms. I was talking to the guys about 11:30 that night. They played a 1:08 start time in New Jersey the next day. And to me, I was sitting there thinking, okay, if there's ever an excuse to lose a game, this is it. Yeah. Like you're not, it's not 24 hours or 22 hours. We're talking 15 hours later. These guys gotta drop the puck and play and try and raise the emotion. They got outshot 16-2 in that first period. Forsberg stood on his head. They ended up winning that game. And so to me, that was a stolen game. Against the Rangers, it just had no gas, but it was their 3rd game in 4 nights. They've got a day off today. They play in Boston tomorrow. They go home. Now day off today. They go home for 3 games in 4 nights again. And it's crazy, like the scheduling. I get it. And I saw some people talking about scheduling, saying how much the West has to travel compared to the East and all of that. Like, I think it was Mark Spector or something in Edmonton said there would be a hockey summit if the Leafs had to travel as much as the Edmonton Oilers or the Calgary Flames or, some of the teams that have to, and they're scheduling playing afternoon games where the Leafs don't play afternoon games. They always play night games and stuff like that. So it's just interesting. But they didn't play well last night, and it was a 5 Cobb, and it actually could have been about 8 or 9 Cobb. It was ugly.
Okay, sorry, I was just going to say, and it's a dogfight right now in the East, and I know we're only halfway through, but there's a look at it. So Ottawa loses, Montreal wins, they get a late goal in regulation to win there. The Rangers win, Philadelphia wins. That's a lot of teams all within 2 points of one another, and points percentage in games played, and it's going to play itself out, obviously, but that's awesome to have that many teams that are legitimately fighting for it here.
Especially Ottawa, Montreal, Columbus guys, because like we've been waiting for years for these teams to finally turn the corner. Like that, those are really excited markets right now.
They are, and they're playing meaningful hockey. I would say
out of the Habs are 13-3-1 in their last 17. Have you seen them recently?
Yes. Yeah, and I watched them live. They found something there. I still believe, and it's not a slight on anybody. I don't think they're a playoff team. Okay. I think that they're close. I predicted at the start of the season that they would have 82 to 84 points, somewhere in there. They had such a terrible start that people were giving me heck about it. Now they're on fire, but I still kind of stand that there is going to be a market correction in there. This kid Dobra, the goalie, doesn't seem to lose. It was a lot like Merrillainen with the Senators. And then what happens is, the initial adrenaline wears off and you have an off night. You have to find a way to battle back. Montembeault, I thought that was the worst game I've seen him play in a long time against the Toronto Maple Leafs the other day. They're up 3-0. And yes, William Nylander makes a great play. Austin Matthews had a one-timer from 10 feet inside the blue line and hit the middle of the net. Like, I didn't know what he was doing. But
he was good last night, it looks like. 33
was great.
Yeah.
Listen, I think that team has something. I just don't know if it's enough to get it over the line. I think it's great for the market. I do think the two best teams that are battling in that mix, I think Boston's in there. I think the Rangers, I seriously think the Rangers, if they get in, they could do some damage.
I agree.
It'll be interesting to see I still think there's some dysfunction there. It'd be interesting to see if they end up trading for JT Miller or something like that, if that has the impact that Chris Drury was looking for when he traded Trouba and Kako, because the team really didn't take off. What's happened, the reason why they're 6-0-3 in their last 9 is the goalie's been really good. And then they're getting timely scoring. They're getting, some of their big boys have woken up. And they're a good team. They won the President's Trophy last year. Like the team isn't that much different. I think Ottawa is going to be right there. I think Columbus is an amazing story. I feel like, and I would say this, the four of us would know, like Johnny Spirit, all of that. Like there's a lot of things that I think it's just a feel-good story. I don't know if they're good enough to make it through. I don't think Philly's good enough to make it through, but they're right there. So there's some teams that are playing meaningful great games. I think this is great for the league. But when the dust settles, I could see Ottawa, I could see Boston, I could see the Rangers kind of near the top. And there's three teams that are battling for 2 spots, really.
And so Boston was the game on Saturday that was absolutely sensational, or Friday, whatever night it was. And it's also who they're going to play next. Tell us about that game. The physicality, I thought, was through the roof. There were scraps all over the place. The Sens were down 2, somehow found a way to get it within 1, tie it with a dozen seconds left. Like, did that feel, being in the building, like that was okay, from this point forth, we now measure time from that game? Or is that just too hyperbolic?
No, it's not, because Brady Tkachuk came out afterwards and says, I've been in the league 7 years, never played a playoff game. That's what I can guess it feels like. So, it's not a hyperbolic statement to go, that was a playoff game. You look at the standings, you look at where they are. There's some bad blood. There was a couple greasy plays. You're going, okay, this is a playoff game. And those guys, especially the Ottawa Senators, they need that because they haven't played these types of drag them out playoff style. Now, you hope that playoff games aren't 6-5, or they hope anyways from a defensive standpoint.
Allmark, though.
Yeah, but you're right. Like they did it without Allmark. Merrilainen, that was his first like subpar performance, but he found a way to get the win, especially a couple big saves in the shootout. One on Pasternak where he gave him the stinky eye, which I never liked showing up anybody, but he made a great save on Pasternak and then just kind of looked over saying, yeah, I'm here. I'm 22. So that was kind of neat, but it was a playoff atmosphere. And at least they've got a reference point going, okay, if we need to call on something, the emotion, the physicality, it's that Boston game. So Boston plays in New Jersey tonight. So the Sens are going to catch them on a back-to-back, but that doesn't mean anything in today's game, really. The travel here, it's a quick flight from Jersey back to Boston. These guys will be in their beds by midnight tonight.
Can we see that board one more time, Jack? Because there is that group of teams, and then just north of that with 53 points is Tampa Bay. So it's
played less. They had that one game canceled from the hurricane.
I think Tampa, I made this weird prediction, and I might be wrong. I think Tampa wins the Atlantic. I do. I think they're the best team out there. But they haven't been proven right yet. Mm-hmm. They do have games in hand.
9 back with 2 games in hand on Toronto.
Yeah. But they've lost 2 in a row. The thing about the Toronto Maple Leafs, Toronto plays Columbus at home tonight, mm-hmm. and they play next Wednesday, I think, before the break. They'll have played 30 home games.
Really?
I went through the league. Everybody, the next most that have played as far as home games is like 25, 26. LA's played 17 home games. So the Leafs, after next Wednesday's game, will have 12 home games the rest of the season. They haven't been out west once yet. They've got 3 trips out west still. And I know they get the Leaf bump where when they play in Edmonton or in Vancouver, they play a 7:00 Eastern game because of TV, but it's still travel, it's time zone, all of that type of stuff. When they play Calgary, I believe it's a midweek game. It's a 9:00 start. It's a 7:00 start. They haven't had the to really be out of their time zone other than they've been to Dallas once, I believe, maybe Chicago, like that type of stuff. But they haven't had to go back and forth out west. They do it 3 times from February on. So, the grueling part of their schedule has yet to come. So I think there'll be a slight market correction. Now they're a good team. I can easily see them winning the Atlantic, but I also think Florida's right there, who won last night. They're 3 points back. I think we haven't seen the best of Tampa, who plays a lot of home games coming up as well. So, and head to head against, Leafs in Florida. So when this all shakes out, it'd be interesting to see those top teams that are jockeying for position. I still think there's going to be a lead change or two.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.ca. Appreciate you watching.